Oh my God, I'm never going to get through it. I'm never going to survive. Guess what? You made it. You made it through, and something good came out of everything, no matter what it was. 5 major soul lessons. And my book, All's Fair in Love and Karma, and I created that to help people.
Welcome to Inspired by Success, the podcast where I deep dive into the mindset of successful entrepreneurs, CEOs, and thought leaders. Get ready to be inspired and gain valuable insights to unlock your true potential.
Transform your financial future with this episode sponsored by KE Financial Services.
Guys, our guest today is a rare gem, an entrepreneur, psychic medium, and relationship coach. Join us as she shares her extraordinary journey, unlocking psychic abilities and transforming lives through her relationship mastery program. With books like Dancing with the Universe, All's Fair in Love and Karma, and A Night on the Other Side, she's here to share her wisdom on understanding energy, connecting with their souls, and gaining a higher perspective on life to achieve and fulfilling relationships. We all want to have successful relationships in life and love. So without further ado, welcome to the show, Jim Edward. Awesome. So as an entrepreneur, author, and a psychic medium, how do you balance all these diverse aspects of your professional life?
So it's interesting.
What made you...
I've been in business my whole life. I grew up in business. My dad was in business. Yep. I was a trained chef. I opened large group daycare centers because I didn't have any good daycare for my own children. I opened a 5,000 square foot, $3 million day spa. I've owned a sports bar, several restaurants, construction companies. You name it, I've done it. So
wow.
My success through my life, I really credit with being able to listen to my soul. And I didn't realize that that's what I was doing while I was doing it. And, I can give you crazy examples. I was going through my first divorce. I had 3 small children, and I owned a cafe at the time. And it was limited hours. I closed by 6 or 7 at night, but still my children were dropped off there after school, and I had the baby in a playpen in the kitchen, which was not a good situation because I could not find decent daycare for him, literally. Whether it was a home daycare or a group setting, I couldn't find it. And it just hit me that we need a good daycare center in this area. There isn't anything. And I sold the business. I made $10,000 in profit. So with my whole big $10,000, like 30 years ago, I'm going to open a daycare center licensed for 125 kids. And as soon as I saw the building, I knew that's the building. That's what I want. That's what I need. I didn't have any background in it. I had no experience. I was not at the time a teacher. I had to go back to school and get a degree to be able to do a teacher. I had to go back and get my school bus driver license. I had to do a lot of things. And, but I kept saying I was listening to my soul. I just knew I was supposed to do this. And everybody that knew me said I was crazy. You don't know what you're doing. You're going to fall flat on your face. You're going to lose everything you own. You're going to blah, 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 blah. And I just kept saying, I know I'm supposed to do this. I was listening to my soul. It was that knowing. That's your soul. And I had it, renovated. I walked in and $5,000 down to rent it. And the guys got full of sports material. It was a sporting goods store, like a Dick's sporting goods store. And he's like, I don't have time to get rid of this stuff. My wife's dying of cancer. I said, will you take $5,000 for it? He's like, yeah. I turned that $5,000 into $50,000, and I was able to I had to redo the septic system. I had to renovate the entire building, and I didn't have enough. I was paying people weekly, and I opened it within 6 months. I had 5 kids enrolled, and 3 of them were mine. I kept telling everybody by September that I was full, and sure enough, by September I had 75 kids enrolled. And then I went to full enrollment from there. A few years later, I opened another one in another state, and my businesses just kept growing. But you always have to keep in mind that you always have to reinvent yourself because the world is always changing and business is always changing. So back then they had the model of YK 2000 in the United States to put all the kids into the public school system by the age of 3. So the first thing they did was before and after school. So there goes my before and after school program. Then they did the full-time kindergarten. There goes my full-time kindergarten. Then they did full-time preschool, age 4. There go my 4-year-olds. Then they started it at 3. There go my 3-year-olds. They left me with nothing but infants and toddlers, and you cannot run a business with the ratios on infants and toddlers. So I closed them, renovated the buildings. I'm a class 1 cosmetologist. Turned it into a high-end day spa. I'm also a medical esthetician, went back to school for that. So, the universe will always
Wow.
take you in the direction you're supposed to go, even if it's so outside of your norm, if you pay attention and listen to your soul. No idea that's where I was going to go. No
So how
idea
did
I thought I'd be doing what I'm doing now. Absolutely never thought I'd be doing this.
how did you get to where you're doing now?
I was the biggest skeptic in the world. Even though I was born with psychic ability and mediumship ability, I blocked it as best I could for most of my life because it's very scary.
Mm.
And this is why a lot of people don't do the work, because they have fear of it. We have a brain in our head, right?
Mm.
Well, your brain is nothing more than a computer. It's
Yeah.
there to help you process your information and follow through with things. But when you make decisions from your brain, it's literally a crapshoot. It's a 50-50 shot if it's going to work out, and you're always questioning yourself, right? When you learn how to get in touch with your soul and you have that knowing, your brain will help you follow through with it.
Yeah.
And it's the right decision and works out every single time, 100%, without a doubt. You don't question it. You just do it.
So what? Let me just take.
Doesn't matter what it is. Everybody's had a moment in their life, whether it was a guy that they met that they knew he was the one, or doesn't matter what it is. Even if it's just going to work in the morning and you've got this feeling that I shouldn't go this way. I know I need to go a different route today, and you avoided a pileup on the highway. That's your soul giving you that information.
Yeah.
That's the knowing. That's what you have to learn how to listen to, and that's what I teach. I teach people how to get in touch with their soul. Your soul is pure energy. That's all we are. We're not the suit that we're sitting in. Once you get in touch with your soul, your life will thrive.
Including intuition?
Intuition is another word for your psychic ability.
And how does one tap into?
That's another word for us.
How do we tap into that?
So it's a process, but you have to raise your vibration, because, again, we're just all energy, right? You have to raise your energetic vibration. We're all magnets. You're either repelling or you are attracting at any given time. And if you've got a lower vibration, then you're going to be repelling. Misery loves company, right?
Let's talk about that.
Okay. Misery loves company.
So let's talk about the lower vibration.
Yeah.
How do we raise our vibration?
So there's lots of ways to raise your vibration: joy, laughter, love. But the best way to raise your vibration is to meditate properly, because that gets you out of your head and literally connects you with your soul. And when you connect with your soul, so I died when I was 27. Okay. I went to the other side and I came back here by choice. So quantum physics tells us that the speed of light is 300 million miles per second, right? So when your soul goes into the speed of light, look at the vibration. Look what a high vibration it's at. And then it came back into my body. So it's not traveling at the speed of light anymore, but it's definitely at a much higher vibration than most people's. Hence the reason I believe I can connect so quickly to the other side. But I teach people how to raise that vibration, how to have the law of attraction kick in, and then how to balance your energy, because that's the key. Everything in the universe has to stay in balance. You have evil and good. You have the night and the day, left and right, up and down. Everything's got to stay in balance. And once you can balance your energy, you can maintain that law of attraction on a higher vibration and bring anything and everything you want into your life.
Yeah, I do believe that the power of manifestation and whatnot.
Well, it's working with the universe.
Energy, everything is energy, and the quantum physics.
Yeah, it's working with the universe. So, the universe is real. Angels are real. The other side is real.
Yeah.
The energy cannot be destroyed. It just can only be created or changed. That's it. You can't destroy energy. So your soul has to go somewhere, and it either goes to heaven or it gets stuck here and stays here with a lower vibration. Your choice.
What was it like being on the other side, if you remember?
Oh, I remember. It's absolutely amazing. It's absolutely amazing. The two things that you take with you to the other side is love and knowledge, and that's it. And you have the knowledge of all your lifetimes when you're on the other side. It's absolutely incredible.
Of your previous lives
all
as
of your
well?
Lifetimes, exactly. Yeah.
Do you mean?
I was, so they call it a near-death experience, and scientists have labeled it that, an NDE, because they can't quantify it yet. Once they can quantify it yet, they won't call it that. I never considered it an NDE because I just knew I died, and I never did any research on it until recently. So what I found is that less than 1% of the people that have an NDE make it to the level that I made it to, literally the fifth dimension, and had a full life review. So a full life review is literally everything that's ever happened in your life that brought you joy or was important to you, the people that were important to you, the events that were important to you. It's absolutely amazing. And a lot of the people that have come back from having a near-death experience, they can't recreate that feeling. So they want to commit suicide, or they do commit suicide. And you can recreate that feeling. You can get it back when you meditate and get in touch with your soul and raise your vibration. So, I connect multiple times a day so that I can get that feeling back, because it's important. There's nothing like it. And when you learn how to meditate properly, you raise your vibration. You'll have so much more joy in your life. You'll be able to see your life from a higher perspective and understand why things are happening. Because nothing in life ever happens to you. It's always happening for you. It's happening for a reason.
Yeah.
It's always for your highest and best. If you look back in your life, all these times that you thought something terrible was going to happen, oh my God, I'm never going to get through it, I'm never going to survive. Guess what? You made it. You made it through, and something good came out of everything, no matter what it was. That's how it works. Well, for the most part, we're here to learn 5 major soul lessons. And my book, All's Fair in Love and Karma, I based it on my relationship mastery program that I created 4 or 5 years ago. And I created that to help people reconcile their marriages,
life lesson
basically.
in everything?
People are having problems in their relationships. And what I've learned was that everyone had the same 5 issues that their soul was working on that they had to learn in order to keep moving through and moving up. So the first one is self-worth. And too many people don't have self-worth. You are the only one of you in this whole world. How special are you? You're it. There's no other one of you. Okay? That's it. It's not selfish or narcissistic to put yourself first. It's where everything else comes from. If you don't take care of yourself first, you're not going to be here to take care of anybody else, are you? So it all starts with you. That's the most important thing. Then you have trust and communication. You have to learn how to communicate your needs and your wants to other people in your life. They're not going to know what you need or what you want by osmosis. It doesn't work that way, okay? You have to let them know. And you have to trust them enough to be able to open up and communicate what you want and what you need to them. You also have to trust that there is a higher power and that there's a plan. You made this plan before you came here. So if you don't like what's happening in your life, you've got no one to blame but yourself. Okay? You made the plan. And sex is just another form of communication. If you can't communicate outside the bedroom, you're not going to be able to communicate inside the bedroom. Okay? Then you have unconditional love. Unconditional love is not playing the martyr and saying, oh, I have to stay with him even though he's beating me every day because I unconditionally love him. No, that's not what unconditional love is. Unconditional love comes right back to self-worth. You have to love yourself unconditionally first. But then it's also loving the other person enough to say, look, I want the best for you. This is not the best. I don't have joy. You don't have joy. It's time to go to separate ways, but I want the best for you and I love you and I'll always love you. Goodbye. Another great example of that would be someone that has a child and they love their child very much. Suppose their child does something horrendous like murdering a neighbor in rage and they go to prison for the rest of their life. You don't like what the child did, but you still love your child. Okay? Then you have money and balance. So we live in a 3D world here. This is your avatar, your suit that you put on every morning when you get up. And in this 3D world, we learn balance through money because everything in the universe has to stay in balance. And money is energy. That's why it's called currency. And it has to be an equal exchange of energy in everything that you do. So you don't walk into a grocery store and plop down $1 million to buy a bunch of bananas. Not yet, anyways. But it has to be an even exchange, okay? And if you're working too much and just to earn more money because you really want to get ahead, then you have no time for your family or your friends. Your life is out of balance. And then you have so much money that you've saved up, you won't even spend it, the fruits of your labor on yourself because you don't have the self-worth, right? Each lesson goes into the other lessons to reinforce them and make sure you've learned them and you understand them and you maintain them. And then you have patience. And patience is very important because we live in a society right now that's all about instant gratification. Everybody wants everything now. They don't want to wait for anything. And life doesn't work that way. You have a large soul. Some of it's in your body, some of it's over your body that they call an aura, and the rest of it's in the fifth dimension, and that orchestrates the timing of the events that happen in your life. And how foolish would it be if you're sitting here as a 5-year-old and you pop out a baby that you got to raise and get married, right? No, the timing is not there. You have to have the patience to wait for the things that you want to come to you in life, right? Just because a little girl wants to get married doesn't mean the timing is there. You have to wait and have patience. And you have to know that the universe will bring you absolutely everything you've ever asked for. It will. It's, most people pray or they talk to the universe in some regard, right? So you're asking at that point. And when you meditate, you're getting your answers. And all you have to do is ask the universe once, and they immediately start working on it for you. I could tell you story after story, myself personally, students that I've had, that crazy, crazy stuff that you just can't make up because you put it out to the universe and the universe brings it to you.
I mean, like, do you think, I've got so many questions for you, but let's go back with the universe question. Do you think because like religion talks about, God, when you ask for something, it's only when it's right for you that God would notice. I don't know. I'm not 100% on that phrase, but it's like God would give it to you if it's right for you.
So to an extent, that's true. Okay. And, I don't really get into religions too much because they're all right and they're all wrong. That's the bottom line. They all serve a purpose. They're all businesses. And there's a lot of truth to some of them, and there's a lot of falsehoods to a lot of them. I only know what I know because I've learned it from the other side. That's where my education comes from being there, from conversing with them, from going back and forth there, and from living it, bottom line. And yeah, if, a big joke, oh, you're so psychic, how come you can't win the lottery? Well, because that's not written in my plan. It was written in, big joke growing up too, because I had a really tough life. And I used to joke to everybody, I've had such a bad life, I should win multi-millions in the lottery. Big joke. I did win the lottery, just in a different form. My life is amazing. I love what I do. Every day I learn something new and I help somebody else. It's just, my life is incredible. And if you trust the universe will never let you want for anything. It will always make sure that you have what you need. So do I need $1 million? No, I don't need $1 million. I have more than enough to take care of what I need. And they always make sure that I have that. Anything that I want, they make sure that I get it. But yeah, if it's not written in your plan to have the lottery numbers, then you're not going to win the lottery. If it's written in your plan to win, guaranteed you'll win. And many, probably not even just once. I know a guy that won the lottery 3 times, to be honest with you. My dad used to be the #1 lottery dealer in the state of Massachusetts. But again, It was patience and timing, because he played the same stack of numbers, about $100 a week, and he played them for 20 years before he won. But after he won the first million, he won the second million, and won the third million, multi-millions. Yeah. Well, it was written into his plan.
You mentioned there, one thing I just wanted to ask about is, like, you mentioned you had a tough life. Why do you think people have so much more pain and suffering than others? Some people have
So pain and suffering is all perspective, isn't it? Look at, you've got prisoners of war that lived in boxes and poked with sticks and not fed, but they managed. They got through, didn't they? So everything in life is perspective. There's always somebody that's got it worse than you. And I grew up with that perspective for myself, thankfully, that there was always going to be somebody that had it worse than me. And I was grateful for anything that I had. And what I've learned is that, again, we plan our life before we come here, whatever it is that we want to do. When you're on the other side, time is a construct that we created here, because time doesn't really exist in the universe. It doesn't. If you go up in space and you're up there for 20 years and you come back down here, you're going to be 4 years older than when you left, not 20 years older. Everybody else will age here, but you won't. So what I've found is that it's about 3.5 years of our years to one of their years on the other side. That's kind of what it works out to. And so we're on this plane for about 100 years, okay, more or less. That's a blink of an eye in the existence of things, right? Your soul is hundreds of thousands of years old. And we reincarnate about every 3.5 to 400 years is what I'm finding on the other side. So that is about, or actually 3.5 to 400 of our years. So that's like 3.5 to 4 years on the other side if they want to come back again. But they come back for different reasons. They come back for vacation, first of all, because you don't have a body on the other side. You can't smell, you can't taste. You can't have sex, right? And people forget that. They forget to play. They forget they came back here to do a lot of things and enjoy this body. You know, when the movie Avatar came out, I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. This is what it's like. Because when you go to bed at night and go to sleep, your vibration actually rises. And more of your soul leaves your body and can go anywhere. You can go visit your friends, your neighbors, you know, a lot of these dreams that you have are things that you wanted to do or have done. And then there's also, you know, a lot of times if you're not connecting with the other side, that's when you're going to get a visit. And you'll know it's a visit from the other side and not a dream because it feels real and you wake up right away and you remember it. That's a visit. So if somebody comes to visit you in your dream like that, that's a visit. They're giving you a message, they miss you, whatever it is. And during the day, you know, if you think about somebody, boom, they show up immediately. Absolutely immediately. They're right there. It's incredible. They don't want to be forgotten. They want to help you. And I found that they don't reincarnate until everybody that knew them plus a couple of generations here are gone. And then they decide to come back down. So when you come back down, you come back to have fun, to have a little vacation, but you also come to help people. You come to collect karma from people that owed you from a past life, someone that did you wrong. And you come to pay back karma to anybody that you did something to and didn't make amends. That's why it's all fair in love and karma, right? Let's say in a past life you cheated on your husband and that son of a bitch, he deserved it. I'm leaving. And you never make amends for it and you don't feel bad about it or anything else. Well, guess what? Maybe the next time you come back, you're like, I really hurt his soul. I really hurt him. I want to know what he felt like, what I did to him. So you'll come back here and he's going to cheat on you this time. So you're going to know what it feels like. That's a lot of the relationship stuff like that is karmic. And it's to teach you that, you know, they're either paying back something from before or it's time for you to get out of that relationship because you didn't learn your lesson and you weren't doing it for yourself. So the universe is stepping in to make it happen. Okay. That's the other thing that happens.
Have you ever had anything like with relationships in your mastery program? Have you found there's just a relationship that seems so irreparable, but
so in my program, first of all, I only work with one person in the relationship because it only takes one person to make or break a relationship. When you change, everything around you changes, doesn't it? And when you do things differently, the other person has no choice but to do things differently. So what usually happens is the person that does the program, the other person is so astounded by the way things have changed and that they're so damn happy. They want to know why. So they end up teaching them the program that I taught them. I've had people that teach their kids now so they don't have the problems in life. And I let everyone know that you cannot make that choice either from your head. You need to finish the program and make that decision from your soul because then you know it's the right decision. If you're making it with your head, it's a crapshoot. You don't know. You gotta get in touch with your soul to make that decision. And there have been people that have gone through my program that absolutely, I'm saying to myself, she definitely needs to learn self-worth. I have no idea why she's with this guy. I don't see it happening, but it's not my place to do that and say that. It's their place once they know what they're supposed to do. And there's one woman in particular I can think of that she's like, no, I'm supposed to stay with him. I know in my soul I'm supposed to stay with him. And sure enough, I mean, this guy was angry. He was violent. He was withdrawn. He was an introvert. And by she had to go through the program twice. She had a hard time the first time. She wasn't able to maintain the high vibration because she was around so much negativity with him. So she did the program twice so that she was able to actually balance her energy. Once you balance your energy, you're able to maintain the high vibration. And he changed. He completely made a 180-degree change as a result of her doing things differently, looking at things from a different perspective, understanding why she was there, learning her lessons, and they're still together. They have an amazing relationship now. And that's one that no one would have put bets on, I can tell you right now.
Wow. How does one protect, like there's energy around us, there's all these outside exterior things affecting our energy, right? And stress, daily lives, work, etc. How can we protect our energy as well? And because energy is
so there's a whole bunch of different ways. Again, you need to raise your vibration. But so someone like me or someone that's an empath that's absorbing all that energy from around them, I'll pick up on energy so quick that if I'm bringing somebody through from the other side and they're upset and crying, I start and I have to have them back up because I'm just pulling them right through. So the way to get rid of that every day is to get sea salt and literally rub it on your body before you get under the water in the shower. Rub it on your body before you sit down in a bathtub. Don't just put it in the water. And negative energy is positively charged. Sea salt is negatively charged. So when positive meets negative, it immediately neutralizes. And you'll feel it immediately. I live near the ocean, so I go to the ocean every morning and breathe in that sea air, and I'm a half mile from it. So it's always keeping me balanced as far as that goes. It's cleansing me constantly. That's one of the best ways to immediately cleanse that negative energy and get rid of it.
Wow. Yeah, because like sometimes it takes self-realization as well, because I hear in my partners, I know a few of my friends who just complain about their partners, and I was guilty of it as well.
That's just drama. That's drama. It's all negativity.
Anger.
It's all drama,
Yeah.
So you can do one of
Yeah.
two things. You can sit there and bitch about somebody all day. Or you can sit there and talk about all their great points. He goes and works out at the gym. He works hard all day. He went and picked this up. He offered to make dinner. What you focus on is what you're going to get more of. That's what the law of attraction is all about.
Yeah.
You can put your focus anywhere you choose. If you sit there and say, oh, my business sucks, it's going to get worse, guaranteed it's going to get worse and it's going to suck. You sit there and say, you know what, my business has been a little challenging lately. I've been struggling a little bit, but that's great because it just makes me work harder and puts me put more energy out. More people are going to come in and check me out. Guess what? The doors will be flowing. That's how it works. You get back what you're putting out. You're either attracting or you're repelling as a magnet at any given time. So don't repel, attract.
Yeah, that is definitely powerful and so, so true. Can we talk about, you mentioned sex as a form of communication.
Sure.
Can you elaborate on that and what tools can strengthen this connection with relationships? Because, it is like the sexual energy is one of the most...
Well, it's what we're here for, right?
We're here
to have sex. How do you think babies are made? If we didn't have sex, the population would be over, wouldn't it? Right? Of course, if men were having the babies, we also know that would be the end of it too. Do you have any children? Do you have any children yet? Yeah, it hurts. Yeah.
Me?
Yeah. Guys can't handle pain.
Oh.
Guys cannot handle pain. Men and women are very different. We're supposed to be very different. Keep in mind, however, that we reincarnate in every lifetime, either a man or a woman. We come back in different forms each time. And we bring through from lifetime to lifetime traits from our past lives. So, for instance, I know that I have been a man in a past life many times. And in this lifetime, I brought through a lot of male traits. I think a lot of it was survival skills because I had a difficult upbringing. So I was the first one in my marriage to pick up a hammer and, hang the picture, fix the furniture, do this, do that if it needed to be done. Well, you have to remember you're here playing a role. This is nothing more than a play or a movie, okay? You chose to be the female in this role. Okay, if you're in a heterosexual relationship, or you chose to be the more subservient one if you're in a homosexual relationship, right? Somebody chose to be the subservient, someone chose to be the more aggressive, right? So I'm just going to call it male and female for ease of everybody. And if you're playing, if I'm a female and I'm picking up the hammer and I'm doing the stuff that he's supposed to be doing in the male role, I've now taken away the opportunity for him, haven't I? Right? And he's not going to be happy because I've now taken away his opportunity to play his part in the play. Bottom line, okay? I chose this part. He chose that part. We have to allow them to play their part so that they can feel fulfilled. We're here to feel fulfilled and happy and have joy, right? So when he hangs my picture, he can turn around and say, look what I did for you, honey. Thank you. That's wonderful. I appreciate it. I had a girlfriend that literally would not change a light bulb. I'm like, I'll come over and change your light bulb. No. He's got to come change my light bulb. That way he feels like he's done something good for me. She's absolutely right. Absolutely right. You have to give him that opportunity. And men and women are very different on many different levels. Women are very communicative. You have to engage our brain before you can engage us sexually for the most part. And men, you have to engage them visually in order to engage their brain. So one of the first thing I tell my students, if you're a woman and you got sweatsuits and stuff around the house and that's what you're wearing or that's what you're wearing to bed, get a nice little fire pit in the backyard and burn them. Burn them. How would you like to see him walking around all day in dirty, gross work clothes if he worked outside that were nasty and torn and sweaty? That's gross. Really? And that's what he sees when he looks at you. So if you want him to be attracted to you sexually, what the hell? You play in the part. You're a woman. Enjoy being a woman. Show a little, enjoy it. I tell everybody they should sleep in the nude. Why would you wear clothing to bed? God forbid. If somebody wake up in the middle of the night and want to have sex, you got to fight each other's clothes off. It's also, found that you sleep better. You regulate your body temperature better. You're not meant to wear clothes to bed. You aren't. You wear clothes during the day. You don't need to wear clothes to bed. But yeah, you have to. That's why. I mean, men are visual. Men are visual. That's why they'll look at dirty pictures in magazines to get aroused. Because they're not getting what they need somewhere. And some people are getting too much. Sometimes there's addiction issues. I was married to one. First, he was a workaholic, then it turned into foodaholic, and then it turned into sexaholic, and then it turned into alcoholic, and then it turned into drug addict. So because addictions bounce around, you're never cured of an addiction. And most people have an addiction of some form or another. Some addictions are stronger than others, okay? But if we've written that into our plan, we've written it into our plan for a reason. It's a challenge that you're supposed to be overcoming. I have addiction problems. I know I do. I never touched drugs or alcohol growing up because I was so afraid I'd be addicted to them because half of my family is, right? Half of them are dead. So I became a workaholic. I became addicted to work. And I had to recognize that and find balance in my life. Otherwise, I would have been working 7 days a week, 40 hours a day, You can't. You have to have balance in your life. But we write addictions into our life so that we challenge ourselves to overcome it and channel it into something productive. So I balance my life and I channel that work into helping people, into writing, into my hobbies, and I put it in different directions. That's the challenge.
Wow, that's crazy. And I love the fact that you said like life is planned, because once years and years ago I went to a psychic, and before I had my daughter, and she said, "You're going to have another child." And I'm like, "No, I'm not. I don't know. We've got issues sometimes with our relationships, but like, do you think her spirit is following me before she comes to the world? Do you know what I mean? Like, we have a special bond together, but
so yeah, you pick your parents, you pick everybody that you interact with in your life. It's all part of the plan. Yeah, absolutely.
They come out. Their spirit comes
in
out
that child.
And
absolutely.
says what they want.
Before any of you came here, you planned. I'm going to have 2 babies. This guy's going to be my baby this time. This one's going to be my baby this time. Yeah, everything is planned. There's nothing that's random.
Wow, that's pretty powerful. Let's talk about twin flame relationships. How does it differ from other types of connections? Because I just learned about it.
3 different types of relationships. The first one is a twin flame. There is so much misinformation out there on the internet. People think everybody has a twin flame, or every time you reincarnate, you have a twin flame. No, absolutely not. It is extremely rare. There are a few thousand, maybe a few 100,000 at any given time. They are here for a higher purpose. They've decided, so it's one soul that splits into 2 bodies, okay? So it's interesting. I am a twin flame, and this is why I have the knowledge about it. And I went back into my Akashic records, which is a book of life, okay? Religion talks about a book of life. Every lifetime is written down. And I went back to see why I chose to be a twin flame. Why I chose to have my soul split in 2 and go into someone else, half of it in someone else's body. It's a horrible thing. It's terrible. It tears you apart. It's not a happy thing. It's not The Secret. It's not. And I went back to a past life where I had been a man that was abandoned as a child, and I basically grew up in the streets, eating out of dog bowls and scraps and everything else. And when I was old enough, I had paid attention, and I knew that there was another town, but I would have had to cross like a desert or a long distance to get to it. And I couldn't go, I knew I wasn't going to get anywhere in the town that I lived in because they knew I grew up that way. So I literally stole clothes off of a line, and I traveled across this desert to get to this town that was so far away and put the clothes on. And then I went about trying to get a job. And I got a job in a tavern, and the man gave me a place to sleep. And I had to just work the tavern, clean it, things like that. And I remember that I never had anybody love me my whole life. I would see men and women come into the tavern together and kiss and hug. And I went my whole life never having a companion, never knowing what sex was, never having a kiss. And that's when I decided that I was going to split my soul in two, so that no matter what, every time I came back, I would have someone that loved me. That's why I did it. So what happens with a twin flame is
Wow.
energy attracts, and you choose the timing of the things when you write your life plan. And when twin flames find each other in this lifetime, it is a very, very sexual, very intense, very brief relationship. They last anywhere from a few weeks to a couple of months. And when they split, it's like a ghosting relationship, basically. And you sit there saying to yourself, am I crazy? Did it actually happen? Did I actually feel that? Was it that intense? You'll never feel that depth with anyone because it's the other half of you. And the saying that you complete me, this is where it came from. You literally feel like you found home. And yeah, everything in your life from there will compare to that. And nothing will ever compare to that. That meeting puts you on your path in life. It changes the entire trajectory of your life. And meeting him is the reason that I do what I do. I couldn't get over him, and I was having a lot of trouble in my businesses. And I went and had Reiki done. And she recommended that I start to meditate. And I'm like, I can't meditate. I can't turn my brain off. I'm running 5 businesses right now and raising kids. I can't. And as soon as I meditated, it was like they kicked the door into the other side and I couldn't turn it off. And I had to find people to help train me how to turn my abilities off because I couldn't. And I spent 1.5 years in training with people here. And then my training took over from the other side before I started helping people. And then it's just leaps and bounds. But he is the reason. I mean, twin flames are here to help change the world. So they have to learn their 5 lessons and they have to get on that trajectory before they can get back together again in this lifetime. So a lot of them don't get back together in this lifetime. It's heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking. Because
So they have to do it
most
again.
people will stay alone the rest of their life because no one else will ever compare. I've been alone since. It's been almost 10 years. It's hard.
Jeez,
Yeah, he's
so
got lessons he
powerful.
has to learn. And once he learns those lessons and he gets on his path, then we can, our energy will just bring us back together. It's that simple. So it's a karmic and a soulmate relationship on steroids. Okay? Not something I'd wish on anybody. Okay? Well, let's
talk
go
about
with the karmic
soulmates
next, because a lot, karmic relationships you're going to get, and they're strictly there to teach you something or you teach the other person. You owe somebody from a past life, or they owe you. So you're collecting or you're paying it back, okay? Most of these relationships are playing out on a sexual type of relationship because they're the most intense, and they never feel comfortable. They always feel like you're looking over your shoulder or you're waiting for the other shoe to drop. They never feel comfortable. And when one or the other learn the lesson, it's like you wake up one morning and you're like, why am I even with this person? And it ends immediately. If you've both learned your lesson, it will end amicably. If only one or the other has learned the lesson, it will end, but it will not be amicable, okay? And they can last for years, depending on how long it takes you to learn your lesson. But as soon as you learn that lesson, it's done. And then you have soulmates, and you have thousands of people that are soulmates out there, just like you have thousands of people that you owe karma to or that you're collecting to or just want to help you. And a soulmate is there to teach you as well, or you teach them, but it's also there to afford you love and comfort at the same time. So that's what you really want as a soulmate relationship. They feel really good. Once you've learned your lesson, you can still stay in a soulmate relationship if that's what you wrote into your plan. Maybe they're going to go on to help each other, learn the next lessons. Or if you've learned all your lessons together, you can just enjoy the rest of your life here together. That's a soulmate. And, it doesn't have to be a sexual relationship.
Yeah.
It could be your child. It could be your dog. Because, we also reincarnate as animals.
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So my
That's
first book,
interesting.
A Night on the Other Side, teaches you everything that I taught in psychic development and mediumship development. And when I was writing the book, everybody's asking me, can we reincarnate as animals and trees? I'm like, I don't know, let me ask. So I went on the other side and asked, and I didn't get an answer. So I went back and looked at my own Akashic records to see where my dog had been in my past life. because this dog had been my son's dog, who was in the military, and he found it as a puppy in a box on the Mexican-Texas border. And I like dogs, but I like my dog, you know. And from the moment I met his dog, that dog and I, oh my God, it was just such a connection. And when he first met me, he jumped in my lap and just hugged me and started shivering and shaking. He's like, my son's like, what is that? I'm like, oh. And the dog, every time I would go to my son's house, my son would be like, you know, Mom, if I was jealous, I swear my dog loves you more than me. I'm like, I love him too. So when he had to give the dog up, he had the dog for 4 years. I ended up taking the dog, and oh my God, at 8 he ended up with cancer, and I had literally less than 2 weeks to put him down. It was an inoperable tumor, and it broke my heart. I still cry over that dog, and it's been 4 years, I guess now. But I went back and looked in my Akashic records, and in my past life, my son had been my father, and we rescued this man from dying. So he came back in this lifetime. My son had him for 4 years. He was protecting him then, and then I had him for 4 years when I really needed him for protection. So he paid back his karmic debt to us as an animal instead of a person. And he comes through to me to visit once in a while. He comes through both as the man and the dog, and I recognize him both ways. I recognize his soul both ways.
In terms of when someone, I feel your pain when you were talking about your soul flame, and I felt your pain about the dog as well. How does one let go of something when you've been so attached? And you know, like how you give us some advice when someone
you never really let go, and why would I? You know, they're not 100% gone. They're on the other side. Every time I talk about him, he's here. You know, they show up immediately. They see, they hear, and their energy, so they can travel in seconds. So every time you mention them, they hear. And I have an unbelievable psychic connection to my twin flame because he's half of me. So I know when he's thinking, you know, thoughts are things. Where your thoughts go, your energy flows. So if you're thinking about somebody, I guarantee you they're thinking about you. And he'll pop in my head constantly. You know, it's tough sometimes to get him out of my head. And I always know I always know because within a very short period of time, an hour, the next morning I go to the gym, I turn the radio on, boom, there's our song every time. And I know it's just his soul giving me confirmation and saying, hi. You don't have to let go. You just have to learn to handle your own emotions, because your emotions are an expression of your feelings. And we're here, we're human. We're here having a human experience. So it's okay to feel. It's all about how you express your emotions. I'm not going to sit here and cry about him for hours. I still love him. I know he still loves me. It's in my heart. It's in our soul. I feel it. That's all that matters. It's energy. You can feel the energy. It's like when you walk into a birthday party, you feel that energy, that high energy, right? Or if you walk into a funeral, you feel the low energy. So when you learn how energy works and you can feel that energy, you can feel them anytime you want.
Let's talk about the angels and guides and departed souls. Like I'm curious to know about entities, you know, because you're a medium, right? And so surely there'd be dark entities, but there's also angels.
So I don't work with dark entities. I have had to work with them because they're around. I've been attacked by them, but I choose to work with entities that have gone into the light. Just as I choose not to work with, you know, the lower vibrational ghosts that are stuck here. I have worked with them. I've moved them into the light. If I run into them, I try to help them. But that's not my calling. My calling is to work with the souls that have departed to the other side. I did a missing person case recently who had passed, and he was stuck here. He had not gone into the light. So I moved him into the light, and he immediately came right back. So that's another instance where I will work with someone that's a lower vibration. So in order to connect with them, again, my book, A Night on the Other Side, will teach you how to meditate properly. I put it in every book. There's also directions into this book, how to meditate properly, and All's Fair in Love and Karma, because it's that important for you to get in touch with your soul. And most people that teach meditation don't teach it properly. They don't teach grounding properly. They don't teach protection. They don't teach timing of it. So when if you pray, you're asking. If you are meditating, you're getting your answers. And when you start, it's cumulative. So the more you meditate, the more often, the better you'll get at it. And the more you'll connect to the other side, the more you'll hear. the more you'll hear them talking to you, the more you'll see the faces. If you want to ask for somebody like your grandma that you miss, you'll see her face. You'll hear her talk. And the angels were never human. They're a separate race. They never walked the earth, but their entire existence is to help us. But there's rules on the other side, the same as there is here. And their rule is that you have to ask for them to help you, okay? So, like if you, I could tell you story after story again. I lost an earring. They make sure I lose my diamond earring at the most inopportune time, that I'm never going to find it until I ask St. Anthony to find it. And then it's in the most bizarre place, okay? I never take them out. But he always comes through for me. And it's always when I'm questioning my faith and I'm questioning abilities or I'm questioning the other side. They always make a point of proving to me that they are there and that they're there to help. And they will always help and they will always come through. And they talk in binary code and numbers, so I teach that in the book as well. And they also use symbolism. So anything that happens to you out of the ordinary is a symbol. So for instance, I was in my car one day and a flock of turkeys came across the road in front of me. Same thing with a whole herd of deer one day. So I immediately went and looked up the spiritual meaning of a herd of deer, or the spiritual meaning of a herd of turkeys, a flock of turkeys. And there is a very specific meaning. So there'll be 3 or 4 meanings in there. And it's the meaning that resonates with you is the message they're trying to get to you. They're always trying to give you messages and point you in directions to put you on the path that you're supposed to be on. So my big thing is believe, right? Because I used to be the person that if I couldn't see it, feel it, touch it, I don't believe it, right? So all around my house, everywhere I have believe. And it pops up in the weirdest places all over the time just to give me that little nudge from the other side. So I'm out looking for Christmas cards today and I'm like, don't you have any boxed cards? I don't want to be paying $4 and $5. I'm going to buy like 10 cards. I'm going to go broke, right? But oh yeah, down here, last shelf on the bottom next to the stuffed teddy bears. I'm like, okay. I go over. What do I spot? A big box of Christmas cards. What's on the front? Believe. They get me everywhere.
Wow.
I'll go to an event and someone will walk up to me that I've never met to introduce themselves to me, and what's on their shirt? Believe. I'm like, you kidding me, right? So if you pay attention to the signs, they're always trying to tell you, you are always right where you're supposed to be at any given time. You cannot make mistakes in life. The only thing you can do is delay your lessons. That's all you can do. So they're going to give you a choice, door 1, 2, and 3. You take door 1, you get married, you have a couple kids, you get divorced. You're in front of door 1, 2, and 3. Most people take door 1 again. You get married again, you get divorced. You have a couple kids, you get divorced. If you learned your lesson, you're not taking door 1 anymore. You're going to take door 2 or door 3. And you may still get married and have children, but you're not going to get divorced for the reason you got divorced the other times, because you learned that lesson. All you can do is delay your lesson. And you can delay it until your next lifetime if you want to. Or you can understand why things are happening in your life and learn your lessons and elevate and have an amazing life.
So once if you've learned all your lessons in this lifetime, which is obviously doesn't sound possible.
That's my whole program is learning your lessons. I've learned all my lessons. I love my life. It's absolutely amazing.
That's how you believe that's how you live a more fulfilling life, because some people think money and success is going to fulfill them, yet they're still empty and
because they haven't learned the rest of the lessons. That's self-worth is unconditional love as well, right? For yourself. And if that's what you want to do, you want to be famous, the universe will make you famous if that's what you wrote into your plan. The universe will always make sure you have what you need. Even the beggar on the street who chose to be a beggar in this lifetime on the street, if he wants a hot meal and a bed, all he's got to do and ask and it will be provided. I've even taken him into my own house before. It will be provided. The universe makes sure that you will get everything that you need. You will never lack anything in your life if you trust the universe. Look at little children, right? Babies are born and they trust that everything's going to be provided to them by their parents, right? They're going to be fed, they're going to be changed, right? They trust, they know. They still see the other side and can talk to the other side until they start getting a little bit older and we ruin them, right? But that's what we have to do. We have to learn to trust the universe, trust the higher power, trust that there's a plan, and trust that you made it so that you're going to be fine. Just listen to your soul.
Very
That's the
powerful.
difference. I mean, when I was in my business, before I went to have the Reiki done, and I was having a terrible time, couldn't get over the twin flame, the business was terrible. I was making decisions from my head, not my soul, and I knew it. I was going right against my soul. I was desperate. I needed people in my business. I needed massage therapists. I needed stylists. I was just hiring anybody I could get to have a body in there. I knew it wasn't going to work. I was going against my soul. This is what happens. It's a train wreck. You don't want to do that. You want to listen to your soul. It makes life so much easier, so much nicer, so much more enjoyable.
Do you have daily practices or rituals that help you
Yeah,
be able to continue that,
So you get
what
one
you're-
body,
what-
right? This is the body that you chose. It's going to wear out. That's inevitable. So take care of your body. So I get up very early every morning, around 4:30, because I love the morning. It's the quiet time. It's the only time I had before I opened my business that it was my time. So I still get up very early. It's routine, right? It's how we make sense of a crazy world. We have routine. So I get up very early, and the first thing that I do is I have my coffee and my toast, and then I meditate. I meditate for 20 minutes, and then I go to the gym, and I work out for 30 minutes, keep my body in shape. Then I come home, and I take care of the other things that I need to do. I meditate, So I meditate a lot during the day, especially if I have to connect to somebody to bring someone through. It's just a quick 2 or 3 minute meditation just to bring through their guides and their people. But I do longer meditations. I'll do probably 2 to 3 20-minute meditations during the day. And that's enough to really connect to the other side, relax, connect with my energy, go back to the other side, have that high vibration, and balance everything out. Occasionally I'll do a longer one. I don't recommend longer meditations unless someone has started to have experience with meditation. Otherwise, you become ungrounded and you become an airhead. Okay. I've done meditation.
Become what, sorry?
I've done meditations where I leave my body and I've traveled over Europe in the 1500s. But if you're not grounded, the problem with that is a lot of times when you come back, it takes longer to ground. Okay. And by grounding, great example of grounding, I'm making meatballs in my house one day. I had 10 more minutes. They weren't done yet. I sat in the kitchen chair. I said, I'll meditate for 10 minutes. Didn't set a timer. An hour later, I came out of the meditation and I'm like, I got to get the laundry going. I went upstairs, got the laundry. I'm coming down. I'm like, I forgot to shut the oven off when I took the meatballs out. Then it dawned on me. I never even took the meatballs out. They were hard little burnt rocks in the oven. But you become a total airhead if you're ungrounded, okay? We're in a 3D world here. If enough of your soul isn't coming back into your body, you're not grounded, okay? Remember, your soul is way too big for your body. You have some in your body, some over your body, and the majority in the fifth dimension. So when you're taking more of it out of your body, you need to make, when it comes back, that it understands it's back in your body. That's being grounded.
Wow, yeah, because I didn't understand that concept.
That's why grounding is so important. Yes. Your soul can leave your body all you want. Okay, when you go to sleep at night and dream, people that are dying only leave a very small part of their soul in their body, just enough to keep the body alive, and the rest of their soul is gone. Same thing for people that are in comas. Or people that have Alzheimer's do the same thing.
Can we talk about, do you think dreams, you get, because you're a psychic medium, when you dream, do you get any visions? Like for people that don't have that skill and that ability, do you think dreams are also a way to warn us?
Well, like I said, if you're not connecting to your soul during the day, the only way they can give you those messages is in your dream state. If you're not paying attention to those messages during the day, say something's going to happen. Say there could be a pile up on the highway the next day, and you're not paying attention to your soul, and they want to make sure that you're not there. Yeah, you might have a dream that night of them coming in and showing you a horrific car accident somewhere. So to warn you to stay away from a certain area, to stay off the road, something, because you're not paying attention. It's the only way they can get in touch with you.
Wow. Okay, we're running out of time, so I've just got 2 questions left. This has been really fascinating for me. I love this stuff. So I hope you guys that are listening and watching, if you do find it helpful, useful, please hit the like and subscribe button. It does help the channel grow. Let me ask you 2 more things. So looking ahead, what are your future goals in using your psychic and coaching abilities to help people? What's
So I'm
next for you?
considering it. I haven't made that decision yet because I keep getting a lot of calls and have been able to help. So, and I'm also
Finding like missing people. Yeah. Is that
Yeah.
like to help? Yeah, that's fascinating.
And I'm looking into doing more speaking events, helping corporate events as well to help employees. Because think about it, if you have an employee that is happy at home, right? They're happy in their home life. They understand the balance that they need to have in their life, and they understand how energy works. They're going to be that much better at their job, aren't they?
So true.
So that's what.
What advice would you leave for our listeners?
The advice I would
Sorry?
leave for your listeners is try to get in touch with your soul. Try to pay attention to the signs that are around you, that are happening, and understand that everything is happening for you, not to you. Okay? And another, just a real quick tip for a relationship on that end, even though this is business, same thing in business, don't ask too many questions. I always tell people, don't walk in and, you don't know what the situation is with the other person, even if it's your partner. And even something as simple as, hey, how was your day? What the fuck do you care how my day was? Blah, 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 blah. Just walk in and say, hey, I hope you had a great day. Now they're going to think, hope I had a great day. Oh, yeah, well, it wasn't as good as I thought, but they're not going to be defensive. They're not going to be, you're not going to trigger them. Okay, questions trigger people. So think how you word things.
Okay, that's beautiful. All right, thank you so much for
You're
your
very
time.
welcome.
I really,
Thank you
really
for
appreciate
having
it.
me. This was
good,
great.
like a
And they
good
can go to
segment.
juneedward.com
Yes.
and they can get
Where
my
can
book and they can book appointments. And I do work internationally through Zoom and through Skype as well.
Yeah, guys, definitely read her book. I highly recommend it. All right, thank you so much for your
You're
time.
welcome. You have a great
I
holiday.
appreciate you.